French Randing is one of the most important weaves that a willow maker must learn. Most of the siding of most willow baskets, I would dare say, is woven with French Randing. It is a very efficient, very quick and very neat looking technique. It is absolutely brilliant. What it is, it's basically rending with as many weavers as stakes. We have one weaver for each stake of the basket. All of the weavers start from butt end at the bottom and finish with tip ends at the top. This is why this weave looks so neat, so good. It uses the rods and it takes into account the nature of the willow rod in the most brilliant way possible. Now, we've already looked at basic French Randing in the beginner's basket that we did together, this one. But here we're going to go more into details. It's going to be a more serious lesson, and we're going to look at variations like this one here, which is called mock Waling. It's not Waling at all. It is a variation of French Randing that gives the appearance of Waling. If you can see here, this is Waling, this is mock Waling, looks the same. And also we are going to look at working with doubled weavers and how to do that. So we got our weavers here, and we need 24 weavers. I always prepare more than I actually need. Now, how do we begin French Randing? We're taking one weaver, inserting it behind the stake like that. I like to insert them so that there's hardly anything facing towards the other side, and then I don't have to trim on the other side. But if we want to trim, so we want to make sure that we have some of the butt end facing towards the inside like that, so that we will have some leverage to pull on and to cut the end nicely. So let's do it like this. Now I'm just making one weaving move, just like that, and proceeding to the next one, entering behind the next stake to the left, making one weaving move, and proceeding to the next, like that. Hope you can see what I'm doing. Look at the left hand position here. The left hand thumb is directing together with the right hand thumb, like that. Now, since the weavers are still quite thick, I'm going to the inside and then towards the outside. Can you see what I'm doing? Holding like that. Two fingers here behind the stake, like that. So this is how we insert the weavers. And now when we get to the last two, I'll show you how to insert them. Alright, now we are at the last two. The first one enters underneath the first one. This is the first weaver that we've weaved. So we're entering right underneath it, like that. I'm entering where this one exits, like that. Okay? Make making one weaving move. And the last one is entering. Let's see if we can change the angle a bit. Underneath the second one. This is right here, the second one that I've weaved. I'm entering underneath it and underneath everything else. I'm entering right above, I can see right above the Waling band, right here. See, like that, underneath everything, and weaving underneath the next one. This one, have to move it out of the way and weave underneath it, like that. And now I've finished inserting the weavers. Before I continue, I think I'll do some wrapping. Alright, so I've done some wrapping, and now let's start weaving a row. We start by simply taking one weaver randomly, let's say this one, and we're making one weaving move. So, like that, one weaving move. And now, as you can see, we've created a pair here, these two. So let's, if we can, let's mark that place now. Now let's move to the next one towards the left, making one weaving move. And now, as you can see, we have another pair here, but this pair has a divider, you might say, between them. They're not right next to each other like the first pair. So now we'll continue like this until we get to those two pairs at the end. Taking one weaver to the left each time and weaving towards the right. Let's go over the hand position for French Randing. Left hand is once again fingers in between the stakes like that, and the left thumb is directing the rod together with the right hand thumb, two fingers behind the stake that I have to go behind, and like that. Once again, this finger, you can see what I'm doing here. You can see that I'm grabbing, maybe up the, like that. I'm grabbing it with my finger like that, and you see, once again, this finger grabs it and pulls it like that. Let's see that again. Grabbing it between my fingers like that. Now, in the beginning, if your weavers are quite thick, as here, I might do something else. I might go to the inside, hold this stake in position, go back to the outside. But later, when the weavers are thinner, I'm simply going to work like this. So we continue like this until we get to the first two. Alright, so now we've got to our first two pairs. Right? This is the pair that we've marked, the first pair. Now we have to weave the bottom one in each one of these pairs because the top one had already woven, right? This top one is the first one that we weaved, and this top one is the second one that we weaved. So now we're taking the bottom one here at this pair, and we're weaving it regularly like this. Now we're taking the bottom one in the second pair right here, and we're weaving it underneath everything, right? That next one should be moved out of the way, so we're grabbing it like that and weaving underneath it, just like that. And now we've finished a round. Once again, we can pick whatever weaver we wish, it doesn't really matter. So I picked one randomly, made one weaving loop, and as beginners, I really recommend marking the point of the first pair. It will really help you to not get confused. Now the second one, once again I have two pairs here. One pair, second pair. And I continue like this, going to the left but moving towards the right until I get to those first two. And we are at the first two pairs again, taking the bottom one of the first pair, weaving it regularly, taking the bottom one of the second pair and weaving it underneath everything. Alright, now before I continue here, I think I'm going to fasten my work. As I am weaving, I'm always paying attention to the shaping, the spaces between the stakes and the overall shape of the basket. You want your stakes to always be leveled. You don't want to be, you have one on the towards the inside and one towards the outside, and whatever small deviation I spot, I immediately fix it, because a small deviation turns into a big deviation very quickly. So always paying attention to this. If this stake feels to me like this one here, too much towards the outside, and it is really, I'm going to push it a little bit towards the inside as I weave over it, and this will keep it. This might be a little bit towards the inside, and also it's kind of crooked, so let's straighten it a little bit, pull it a bit towards the outside as we are weaving, and fix everything into position as we are weaving. This is something that you are always paying attention to. Every couple of rows, or 3 rows perhaps, I'm going to fasten my work. Also, I went ahead and got everything wet, the stakes and the weavers, because they felt a bit dry and it was harder to work. So I went outside and I got everything wet with my watering hose. I always like to keep the stakes wet throughout the process, so in between stages, let's say sections or whatever, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to get the uprights wet. Now I'm starting a new round, and as you can see, when the weavers turn thin and short, it becomes much easier, much quicker to weave. After this round, I'm going to once again wrap the weave, make it nice and neat. And I'm down to the last two. First, taking the bottom one of the second pair. Now, let's wrap our work. Maybe I'll weave one weaver to have a marking point of where I started to wrap. Right, now I got to this pair, and I know that I've finished wrapping all around. Now, if one of my weavers had broken for some reason, let's say this one, it's just a question, it's just a matter of replacing it in the back. So I'm going to cut it right here in the back, and use these shears instead. Make a nice cut and put the replacement rod like that in the back. That's it. Very, very simple. Also, it's very important to pay attention to the kinks. If there's a kink in the weaver, we want to make sure that that kink is directly above the stake. So this is mostly the left hand work. The left hand thumb determines where the kink is going to be. The last thing you want to have is a kink somewhere in the middle. So always make sure that the kink is right upon the stake. The weavers will not always kink, but if they kink, we want to make sure that they kink directly over the stake. Alright, now we've finished our section, and all we have to do is trim the ends. So traditionally we trim on the inside. We take our shears and we trim right next to the stake on its right side, diagonally like that. You can never cut the ends too short when you do it like this. There's no way. So you can do it right next to the stake. Great. Now we've finished our French Randing section. Not quite finished actually, because I forgot about trimming the ends on the inside. So we want to trim them diagonally so that they are leaning upon the stake they entered behind. Like that. They don't need to be very long, they just need to lean upon the stake they went behind. It's very hard to show it to the camera actually, so I hope it's understandable. Can you see? Can you see the trims right here, not too long, just leaning upon a stake. French Randing with doubled weavers is just the same as French Randing with single weavers, right? Except working with pairs instead of singles. So I don't really need to finish the whole demonstration here because it's pretty clear. But what's important about working with doubled weavers is that they will be of suitable thickness to work with. Either the stakes need to be thicker or the weavers need to be thinner. You have to make sure that the two weavers together are not too tough on the stakes. The stakes have to be able to hold them. So that's the first thing. Now, I said I'm not going to demonstrate this regular way, but there is actually another way of beginning French Randing with two weavers that has several advantages. First of all, when you begin like that with pairs, or even maybe sometimes triples even, you might create, depending on your weavers, a small space in here in the beginning. And also, the thick end of the weavers is is the most powerful, and it's going to apply the most force upon the stake. So working with the two butt ends like that together from the beginning might apply more force upon the stakes and might be more difficult to work with. So what we can do is to begin like that regularly, and then at the second round to add the second weaver. Now when I finish this round, I will add my second weaver, this one weird, like that, and that will be easier on the stakes, easier to work with, and it might make the beginning finer looking. So let's see how that's done. Alright, so I finished the first round, and now I'm going to add the second weaver as I'm weaving the second round. I finished inserting, and now the second weaver is going to get in. So I'm just inserting it, and now working with the two weavers together. Very, very simple. Inserting and working with the two weavers together, right? Inserting right here, pairing with the old one, and working with both. Pairing with this one and working with both. Very, very simple. One very simple variation of French Randing is going in front of two and behind one, instead of going in front of one and behind one. Front of two, behind one. And this is called mock Waling because it gives the appearance of Waling. And we can do this for just the first round, the starting round, or we can do this for the entire section. We can do this for decorative reasons, and we can do this for practical reasons. And one practical reason to do it is to if the weavers are very thick and very hard to work with, then the first round is going the insertion round is going to go behind in front of 2, and it's going to be easier to work like that. Maybe we can also not do a Waling band in between section, and then just start the next section of French Randing with mock Waling like this, so that it will give the appearance of a Waling band in between the 2 sections. We just continue like this, and it's just the same as regular French Randing, except you're going in front of 2 and behind 1. Now, when I'm entering underneath the first one, this one here, I actually have 3 more, not 2 more as before. So this will be the first. Now the second one enters right here. You always enter underneath everything, right? Directly above the Waling band in this instance. And the last one. Right here. Move this one out of the way, just like we did before, except in front of 2 and behind 1. And now we just continue like this. It's a very simple variation. It depends, of course, whether we want to do the entire section like this or just the starting row.